Okay, I have a couple of questions from Sam, and she reads, I just watched your TED talk where you mentioned something about Charles Manson talking in the phone in the soup kitchen. Can I ask, was that real? And her second question is, do you miss solitude? So I'll talk about the first question first. Some time ago, i.e. when I was about 28, 29, something like that, maybe 30, maybe a bit older, I got into a fight with a bikie gang, and me being the hero I was, put my shoulder down and charged one of them, and as I was charging him, he pulled out a great big shifting spanner and hit me right down the centre of the head there. Split my forehead open, and knocked me out cold. I woke up in hospital. Suffice to say, I have a great scar here. It's not as prominent today as what it used to be when I drank a lot and I used drugs. And after I came out of the forest and I stopped using the drugs and I was going cold turkey with the alcohol and everything else, I still had a lot of anger and a lot of rage inside of me. So people would stay away from me. They wouldn't, they were very, very selective about how they approached me and if they approached me. And when I really became enraged, that scar really showed out. It was quite vivid. And so because of my anger, because of my rage and that scar, and probably the way I looked, a lot of it was about the way I looked at the time as well, they just called me Charles Manson. You stay away from Charles Manson. You don't go near Charles Manson. Be aware of Charles Manson. Have you seen Charles Manson today? One of the things about having that sort of an identity is that people do notice you. You're not invisible. You can't. It's very difficult to just meld into the background. So, in a way, there was an advantage to it because as time progressed and I became better, I started to work through my issues, people knew and expected me. They knew my trials. They knew that I'd turn up on a Wednesday for lunch or something like that, and they knew that I was starting to look for better things for work and things like that. So I talk about the GOS was, computers were the new thing. That's how I got into that information. So very real. Charles Manson was very real. That identity, very real. It comes up sometimes in conversation. I've told a few people about it. We have a bit of a laugh. Now, I'll talk a little bit about solitude. Solitude, for me, is an interesting concept. I guess I first experienced solitude when I was locked away in the concrete cells as a 12, 13, 14-year-old. Or even earlier when I was locked in under the staircase by the nuns, or in the room, what they call it, the dressing room. I'll be locked in there for a couple of days sometimes. So I understand solitude in that context. But that's a solitude where you're almost imprisoned and there's a confinement, a forced solitude. Then there's the solitude I experienced when I lived in the forest, that's a different type of solitude, and that was a solitude where I had that freedom. I could run around, I could choose where I went. And the thinking that's related to the two are very different. I recall in those early days, I used my mind a lot to construct my freedom. So I was free in my mind, and I developed and created beautiful places in my mind. Later on, when I was in the forest, the beautiful places were already there. So that left a lot of my mind to think about other things and enjoyment. I enjoyed that sort of solitude. Do I miss it? I think, when I talk about today, I have moments of solitude. I have moments of reflection. I have periods when I can spend, a whole day or 2 days with myself. I mean, I'm a part of a beautiful family today, and so that means sharing myself, sharing time, them sharing themselves with me. So, and that takes a lot for me, that takes a lot of energy, a lot of concentration, and I still look forward to those moments where I can appreciate just being me, listening to the birds, just going for a nice quiet walk. They're still important moments for me. I don't miss the solitude from my childhood. I reflect often on the solitude that I experienced in the forest. I don't miss it. I genuinely don't miss it. I appreciate it, and I understand where it has led me. And today, I appreciate the moments of solitude that I do have, and I look forward to them. But having said that, I also enjoy my days as well.